This is the only boatless catfishing tips video you're going to need to catch big summer bank catfish starting right now. Okay, now for the good stuff. Bait selection is really critical if you want to catch more catfish and bigger catfish every time out. We're going to cover the natural baits and some really cool human foods you can also use. Natural baits always seem to work best for any type of catfish you're targeting, from bullheads all the way up to the big blues. You know how strong the catfish's sense of smell is, right? So we want to be using very strong smelling baits that emit odor right away into the water. Our all-time favorite is chicken liver, and a really great hack, if it's legal to do so in your area, is to tie them up in a pair of pantyhose, which is going to let you cast it out farther and keep it together a lot better too. Its strong scent is irresistible to primarily channel catfish, and it won't take long for them to find it. Because this bait emits such a strong scent trail in the water that what we really like to do is let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes and get fully immersed. Then we begin to slowly reel it in with gradual pauses, and many times the cat will nail it on the retrieve, which you're about to see right now, because channels rarely ever let a good meal escape and get away. And for the die-hard catfish anglers, you know beef liver and turkey liver may even work better for channels because of the high protein content and the fact that they tend to stay together a little bit better. But you'll most likely have to buy that at your local butcher shop, though. Next, cut bait, which is simply pieces of fish like shad, bluegill, herring, and perch that you cut up into 4 to 5 inch pieces, and once the natural oils disperse into the water, the channels and blues will come calling from a distance. Live bluegill and sunfish, again if legal to use in your area, are the #1 bait for big flatheads, hands down. Stink baits next also get a lot of good press, and for good reason. These commercially prepared concoctions are made specifically to cater to the catfish's nostrils. They're very highly effective because of their very strong and pungent smelling dough, paste, or dips that you can buy in a number of catfish-loving flavors. And if those aren't good enough, there are a number of human foods that simply work wonders for catfish too. Our #1 favorite bait of all time in both ponds and small inland lakes is frozen cheese-filled hot dogs. Many people even roll them in garlic powder to make them even more appealing to channels and bullheads. We keep them frozen so that you can secure them on the hook better and cast them out into the deepest sections of the lake. It's just because the combination of cheese, fat, salt, and protein really can't be beat. And talking cheese, that is also another highly effective bait to use to catch catfish. Again here, the smellier the better. Cheddar cheese balls or chunks work great, but the best and smelliest cheese you can buy is Limburger, and it works. And shrimp, not just for the discerning human taste buds. They flat out work to catch catfish in both freshwater and saltwater. Again, we use them frozen like with the hot dogs, so it's easier to stick 2 or 3 onto your octopus hook, and they stay together well for at least 10 to 15 minutes in the water. Okay, now let's briefly cover the rigs and equipment you'll need for all the catfish you're after from the bank. First, you want to make sure you're using a long, sturdy, and strong fiberglass catfish rod in the 8 to 9 foot length, preferably like you see here. First, that's because if you end up battling a 100-pound monster, you're going to need a rod in hand that can absorb the inevitable fight and the many runs you're going to experience. And second, a long rod is going to allow you to cast out farther from shore so you can get it into the deeper holes. Your spinning reel should also be able to handle a larger capacity of at least 30-pound braided line for all catfish. Although we don't take any chances, we always use 50-pound moss green color braid because we always seem to catch 50 and 60-pound snapping turtles on the bottom when targeting catfish, and a lighter line just will not handle their weight. You got to make sure you've got some heavy sinkers as well to be able to cast out far and get the bait down on the bottom where the big boys are. We hook the sinker onto a swivel tied onto the main line because that really helps prevent line twists, especially when you have heavier weights on. We also use peg floats, as you saw earlier, up about 12 to 16 inches from the octopus hook when we want to suspend certain baits just off the bottom, and that works really well. Now, this is really important, folks. When you do get a catfish interested in the bait you're using and you feel the bobber go down or the top of your rod bend over, it's critical to give just a slight pull on the rod, i.e. setting the hook gently, and that will ensure you make the catch every time. Yes, the octopus circle hook is designed to turn into the corner of the catfish's mouth, but when you're using softer baits like hot dogs and chicken liver, etc., they can easily run away with the prize and leave you with an empty hook if you don't set it properly. Trust me, from many decades of experience, this is the best way to go. You don't want to jerk too hard, though, like you would when you're bass fishing, as this can pull the hook right out of his mouth. Okay, now let's hone in a little deeper on some of the concepts we talked about earlier relative to how the catfish hears and smells so well. Many people probably don't even know this, but the catfish also has a lateral line, just like those that are so well pronounced on a largemouth bass. That is, in essence, a sensory organ along the sides of its body that runs from its head to its tail. The lateral line is usually only a few series of small pores or maybe just a faint line under the skin, but it's there nonetheless. They use the lateral line to sense vibration and movements in the water, as we referenced before. It helps them survey the water current and any movements in their surrounding water. So not only does this help them navigate better in darker and muddy water, it also helps them avoid any predators, locate their prey more easily, and communicate with other catfish too, believe it or not. The other really cool facet of the catfish's body is their Weberian apparatus, which is a highly specialized anatomical structure that enhances their ability to hear better. It consists of a number of small bones that actually connect their inner ear to their swim bladder. This helps them improve their ability to primarily detect sound vibration, which picks up sound waves and transmits them from their ossicles or bones back into their inner ear. So this actually allows them to detect a very wide range of sound frequencies and vibrations very accurately. Very cool stuff as we go a little bit more technical on you, and we bet you didn't even know that. Okay, now let's just share the best tips we can give you for catching more and bigger catfish during the summer months from shore. And the best part is you don't even need a boat. These strategies and techniques are going to help you land your trophy-sized cats right from the bank every time. Here's how. First and foremost, let's talk about location. In the summer especially, catfish will tend to move into shallow water during the nighttime just after dusk to feed more heavily. And during the daytime, they hide out in deeper, cooler areas surrounded by cover and structure. So you want to look for spots where deeper water is closer to shore if possible, and target river bends and mouths of creeks, and of course always be on the lookout for underwater structure like submerged trees, timber, laydowns, and large rock formations. These are all prime locations that provide the catfish with the shelter and cover, cooler water, and a steady food supply, and they're more comfortable staying put there during hot summer days. So tied in with the best locations is timing. Much like many fish, the best time to fish for catfish is during the late evening hours, especially during the hot summer months. Night fishing for all species of catfish is superb because catfish are primarily nocturnal feeders, as you likely already know. Of course, we've already covered the bait selection because that is critical to catch the biggest catfish after you know when and where to hunt for them. Okay, so let's just recap a little bit. Catfish have a very keen sense of smell, like we've mentioned, so we always want to be using baits that have a strong and pungent odor to them. This will always be the best way to bring in the biggest cats from farthest away. And this is also really important, folks, and that is to stay quiet and stealthy when you're bank catfishing. Catfish have a very keen hearing, as we've talked about. They can detect nearby sounds and vibrations both in the water and out. You have to minimize noises and movement when you're fishing from the shore so you don't spook them. Listen, it's no different than a deer hunter up in the tree stand. He's afraid to even pass gas up there, God forbid, so as not to spook any deer. Treat catfishing the same way, okay? Go get him, folks. We'll see you out on the water. Okay, folks, thanks for watching. Please like this video, hit the subscribe button before you leave, and don't forget to enable your bell notifications so you never miss another great video coming your way.